Aaron, you have a chief magistrate, you have the national chair of the ANC, you have a sitting deputy correctional services minister, a former president, and a former board of the SAA. These are just some of the names that have come up this morning.
Yes, those are some of the names of people who on Richard Roux's testimony were the beneficiaries of upgrades to their properties as well as maintenance to those properties. In the case of Dudu Myeni, as you've referred to there, the former chair of the SAA board, he alleges that her Richards Bay property received several security upgrades and that he was present on that site. He spoke with her in the kitchen at one point to give her an update on the developments in terms of this work. And Kathy, what he said, which is quite significant, is that they were instructed as the Special Projects Unit under an IT subsidiary of the Bosasa Group to never use branded cars and never wear any branded clothing. And this is the first witness on the stand who is, one, currently employed at a subsidiary of a company that was known as Bosasa and is now known as African Global Operations. And two, we know from information from Advocate Molefe's questioning and that of the Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo that he was subpoenaed to appear before the inquiry today.
And basically, that subpoena then, Aaron, means that he was forced to come and give evidence before this inquiry. That being the case, what has he said about the possible ramifications of what he said before this inquiry, given the fact that he is still within the employ of that Bosasa subsidiary?
Well, he didn't volunteer any information on that front, and he wasn't questioned on what these possible implications may be. What is interesting is that he often used the past tense to refer to Gavin Watson, saying Gavin Watson would and Gavin Watson had, indicating that perhaps Watson is not currently that hands-on at African Global Operations, but that, of course, is simply a deduction based on the tense that Roux has used and no further information at this point. But what Roux did say at the end of his testimony today, led by Advocate Molefe, is that it was a burden off his shoulders. It was a relief to know that his evidence is for now done and that he can return to his regular job. And interesting to hear that we are going to expect another Bosasa insider, whether current or former, to appear on the stand later today. Roux has been cooperating with the investigators of the inquiry, and he said that he's visited at least 4 properties in Gauteng, including the likes of that of Vincent Smith in Roodepoort, to indicate the kind of upgrades he says were paid for by Bosasa.
Aaron, then let's also talk about the visits that were held by the former president, Dudu Myeni, the likes of Becky Cele, to the Bosasa offices, and why exactly it was the footage of the CCTV cameras had to be completely destroyed.
Well, where we get really interesting, Kathy, is the fact that someone like Roux doesn't have information on that. It seems that he was fairly low down the ranks of Bosasa, if you like, and he wasn't privy to a lot of the motives for these sorts of decisions and wasn't particularly keen on speculating as to why. But he did say that he was instructed by the likes of Angelo Agrizzi, then COO of Bosasa, and Gavin Watson, the CEO of the company, to destroy all footage of VIPs and VVIPs who visited the Bosasa premises, not only on their CCTV cameras, but also on the servers. And he seemed to not be the kind of person who was very clued up on who was who, except for, as you say, those names of Dudu Myeni, then President Jacob Zuma, and Becky Cele, who he says visited the Bosasa compound or office park on a Saturday, and he was instructed to delete that footage. And unfortunately, Kathy, if you won't mind a little bit of wry humor on this, he also didn't indicate what kind of handbag Dudu Myeni was holding when they made this visit to the Bosasa premises.
All right, thanks for that, Aaron.